Okay, you know how we work in the video game industry. Reiner, you've been a Game Informer for how long?
24 years,
Okay.
5, something like that. Yeah.
I constantly find myself at least making the argument that, like, I think there's something interesting about every video game. Every video game has something worth talking about, right?
That's my replay shtick.
Oh, really?
This guy makes fun of me for it.
Why? What do you say?
Never.
Give the shtick.
Never. That's pretty cool.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. All right. Well, what if we gamify it? Not only every game ever made, but gamify our ability as journalists to find something interesting about any game ever made.
Done.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty of Game Informer, going back to 1991, is we have a history of and a list of every game we've ever reviewed. Thanks to Margaret in production for finding that list and putting it together. Leo, what is the total number of games we've reviewed technically?
7,724.
Maybe there's a couple missing in there, but by and large, this is every game ever made.
Good gravy.
Well, every game we've reviewed at least. So
I think
hope
7,000
that's-
games release a month on phones.
Yeah,
that's true, but still. So what we're doing here, we're going to call this working title
Reeves's Peeveses.
2.0. Every game is interesting.
Okay.
We are going to, through a random number generator, each be assigned a random game throughout Game Informer's origins up until games that could have been released last week. Everything under the sun is in here.
So that's Super Nintendo Genesis forward.
Right. Then on next week's podcast, it's up to us to give like a book report style report on what's interesting about this game.
1
Do we
minute.
have to play them again?
Not necessarily. You can if there's something interesting about the gameplay that stands out, if you find something interesting about the development, if you have anything interesting that's popped up in the community since that game has launched, finding the game's #1 fan. Wide open, whatever it is, and then we'll vote next week who has the most interesting stories to tell about whatever game this could possibly be. Jeff,
Lose
Cork?
a round, lose a finger. Is that the rule?
That is the
also?
rule. Also, here's the twist too.
What?
We each get our own game, which I'm very excited to find out what it's going to be. We could get hosed here because there's a lot of sports games out there, ladies and
It could
gentlemen.
be like NBA Live 06.
Well, that's the challenge. If we're saying every game is interesting, let's prove it. But the twist on top of that, we're doing a 5th roll at the end for the community. So the community will have
they
their
could get
own
screwed.
game, and they can get completely screwed, and then they write into podcast@gameinformer.com and give the pitch of what they learned about that game and make the pitch for why that game is interesting. Yes, Jeff Cork.
Do we have a time limit on our things? I think it would be interesting if we had, like, you have 1 minute.
Boy, 1 minute seems short.
2 minutes.
I'd say, okay, let's go under 2 minutes.
Thank you.
I think that's very good.
And will we have a clock?
Yes, we will.
Thank
Guaranteed. Okay.
Will you hear ticking?
I hope so. I hope it's louder than the person speaking.
Who wants to go first?
I'd like to go first.
All right. Leo in the booth is going to use his magic random number generator and a very complicated series of thoughts and algorithms to figure out, Cork, your game for every game is interesting,
All right.
the challenge.
The challenge.
The challenge.
All right.
Here we go. Leo Vader. All right. Still
This is going to
processing.
take 2 minutes.
He's doing it.
I was joking about the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope this continues for 2 minutes while we're giving our presentations.
I can't search for the number. I have to scroll till I get to it.
Damn you, Google Sheets.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, here we go, baby.
Oh.
1879, ESPN MLS Game Night.
What?
All right.
Wait, one more time. What are those words?
ESPN MLS Game Night.
Major League Soccer?
I assume.
Oh my God. Do you have a review or any other data
man.
in that Excel spreadsheet?
It was for PS1.
Okay.
If you could
Gave it an 8.
Wow.
Oh.
If you could provide me something
Congrats.
interesting about that too off air, I would appreciate it.
Well,
Wow.
you got 2 minutes, Cork. Go.
Wow. I loved that choice, Cork. I think that's a bold choice.
I think Leo giving that info, though, kind of ruins it a little.
Oh, I don't think
Because
so.
that could have been one of the nuggets.
Our
That's so
review?
boring. I'd argue that's not interesting. That's just
all-
a good baseline.
That's probably the best nugget there is.
Did I get an 8?
About ESPN MLS Game Night? I don't think so. I think it's huge.
I'm saving you from losing by just bringing the review score.
Reiner?
Give me a game.
All right. Give him that game. Don't give us the number either. That's confusing for everybody.
Yeah, that was very confusing.
I kind of like that, though.
18.
I
I,
thought
was
you-
like, this is a Civil War game?
I thought it was going to be an Anno game or something.
Yeah.
Deeply sorry. Chasm
for PC.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
That's so recent.
Reiner.
That's crazy.
Yeah, when did that come out?
Like 2 months ago. I reviewed it. Like not that long ago.
July 2018.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
Oh, there's your fact.
Interesting.
I didn't like it
Reiner.
as much as ESPN. I'll just say that.
He's a big MLS fan.
Chasm.
Yeah.
Reiner, that's crazy that we get a game that recent.
It's a random thing. You're going to get them all the time.
All right. Ben Reeves,
All right. Here I am.
say the magic phrase.
Give me a game.
He's going to get Forza Horizon 2.
Unquestionably the greatest. Nervous?
Oh, yeah.
Serious Sam 2.
Interesting. All right.
That is so good.
That's good.
Reeves, do you like Serious Sam?
Careful.
Have you played Serious Sam
I've
2?
played. No, I have not played 2. I played one of them, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't
I like
2.
those games.
You have to play through it to its entirety.
Maybe that's the most interesting thing is
Here's the
playing
most interesting
ending.
thing: is my brother's name is Sam.
Oh my God, but he's not so serious.
He's a very serious guy. Yeah.
Leo Vader, give me that game. God, it's not going to top Serious Sam 2. That's a perfect random game.
Wow, it is really doing something in there, isn't it?
The computer's thinking.
Army
I
Man.
can't turn that sound off. I really couldn't for a second. Ben Hansen gets Jack X Combat Racing.
Yeah!
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
Yes!
Wow.
Oh,
one of
I
my
can,
favorite
I can give a
games.
monologue right now about Jack X Combat Racing. All right?
ridiculous.
Awesome. That is a perfect sampling,
All right.
but the big community choice. This is
right.
what people are going to write
We're
into
not done yet.
podcastgameinformer.com. We're
Yeah.
going to kind of, it'll be like a mini game club in a way. We'll condense everybody's thoughts. So the community choice, I think I speak on behalf of the community when all of us at the table say at the same time, give me that
love you.
game.
Oh yeah, game.
Beatdown Fists of Vengeance.
Oh.
Wow,
Is
you
that
found that
recent?
one fast.
We just did that on replay.
What?
Original Xbox scored a 5.
Wow. That's
right.
crazy that we just did that on replay. Leo, are you trusting your random number generation skills?
Completely.
Wow. All right.
right.
Here we go. Next week, expect full reports on Jeff Cork's ESPN MLS game night. Otherwise, we call it the F Zone. Reiner, Chasm,
You can read the review right now on GameInformer.com.
Reeves, Serious Sam 2. Myself, Jack X Combat Racing. Oh,
That's a good one.
Easy
man.
money.
I would have liked that one.
And the community's choice, and they demanded it, Beatdown Fists of Vengeance on the original Xbox. And don't just be lazy and watch that replay. Let's dig in deep on the most interesting thing you can find about that game.
And what do the winners get?
Respect.
Hey,
That's right.
Yeah.
I have a question. If someone, should people show their work?
Yeah. I
Okay.
would love that.
Because otherwise, you'd read an interesting fact like, "Oh, it was programmed by a mole." That's fascinating. Wow.
And welcome back to the Game Informer Show, and welcome to a funky little segment, the back half of the show where things get freaky. I'm still here. Andrew Rainer's here now.
That's a weird intro for this.
You got it. Ben Reeves is here.
Hello.
Jeff Cork.
Let's get freaky.
And special guest, the Judgment Man himself. Some call him Phoenix Wright if he was a judge. Timothy Turry from Capcom.
Oh my gosh. Hey, good to see you guys.
Oh my gosh.
I may be over in California, but you got this freak on a leash, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Former co-host of the show, if you're not familiar with Tim. Jeff Cork,
Yes, sir.
2 minutes on the clock, which you insisted upon
Yeah.
for convincing us that ESPN MLS game night is interesting.
Yeah.
Jeff Cork,
Yes, sir.
you have the floor.
All right. So here's the deal. I think that this being a sports game, a lot of us may have a revulsion toward it just on its face. But I think that it's interesting because sports games, unlike a lot of other games, are a fascinating snapshot in the real world, the time at which they were released.
Interesting.
So don't worry, I'm not going to tell you about Tom Brokaw was at the peak of his career with this. No, nothing like that. Don't worry. First of all, this is just an aside. On the back, it has the word goal and the conventional spelling, which now we know has 4 O's and 4 A's. So anyway, a little bit about the MLS that was founded in 1993, and the first game was played in 1996. This game came out 4 years later, and it was the first game based on Major League Soccer, okay? Sequel was released about 7 months later. It was called ESPN MLS Extra Time 2002, which came out in 2001 on PlayStation 2. And then the GameCube and Xbox versions came out in 2002. So it was a little more in line. Essentially, Game Night is a reworking of the ISS Pro Evolution Soccer, the third one in the series. And basically, the opening sequence, it's got the ESPN comes on, and then inexplicably it says, it's a weird branding. It says ESPN, the games, which seems like a mistranslation or something, whatever. Then it's got like a little bit of a show, like a real highlight clip kind of thing, showing you the words defense appear, and then goal, and then victory. And then an NFL style kind of crunching sound effects and everything, montage of like showing the rough and tumble aspects of the sport. So it's clear that MLS was kind of positioning itself as not the genteel version where guys were taking dives and running out the clock.
20 seconds.
20 seconds left?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. So there's 12 teams. I think that in a way they kind of created their own curse, like in much the same way as there was the Madden curse. For instance, cover athlete Carlos Valderrama Palacio, a Colombian player known as the Kid, played originally for the Tampa Bay Mutiny, went to the Miami Fusion, and Tampa Bay Mutiny, which is wearing this kit here,
Time's up. I'm
shut
sorry.
down.
I'm so sorry.
2 minutes is a very short period of time.
You chose it. You demanded it, man.
I have so much more to talk about.
Oh my God, Jeff Carter.
I didn't even get to the
There
interesting
you go.
stuff, so I'd like to apologize.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was nothing interesting.
All right.
Do we want
Right,
to let
Tim?
that slide?
No.
You know, I got a lot to digest there.
not
A lot
go
to
over?
digest. So.
Okay, all right. One eyebrow is off of Tim's head, like he's creating a me here.
You just
There,
threw it in the
that's
trash. Sorry, Tim.
All right, Ben Reeves, ladies and gentlemen.
I have not timed this.
I did not either, Ben. You might
Yeah,
not
apparently.
realize this.
It is a small
All right.
document.
Here we go. Start the clock, everybody. So I have Serious Sam 2, and Webster's Dictionary defines serious as a grave or somber disposition of character or manner. And Serious Sam 2, the specs for that game, you had to have a 5 gigahertz Atheon XP or a Pentium M. And here's a fun fact. My brother's name is Sam, and there's 2 of them.
Got that last week.
Yeah, that's right. During the original development of Serious Sam, Sam was rendered with only 3 polygons when they were like working on the game early on. And even though it's called Serious Sam 2, it's actually the 5th game in the series. Because there's like Serious Sam, the first encounter was the original game, the second one was the second encounter, and they had a couple of other ones, and then Serious Sam 2 came out in 2005 as the 5th game in the series.
That's interesting.
One interesting fact is the voice actor for Serious Sam his name is John J. Dick, and on IMDb, he has like 7 Serious Sam games, and then only one other game, which is called like This Is the Police, which is a neo-noir
recent.
adventure strategy game. And his co-star in that game is John St. John,
Wow.
who plays Duke Nukem. So Serious Sam and Duke Nukem starred in a game together. Almost all the voices outside of that were actually recorded by one other guy who's on the Crow team. The Crow team is the developer, and he did all the character voices and a lot of the like noises, like including like exploding things that exploded into bones, apparently, which is weird.
20 seconds.
That's what it says. And then one other thing is like there weren't a lot of ragdoll physics in that game, but like one of the animators on the team got bored one day and he started like dragging this rabbit around the room, and he decided he was going to program a meat grinder into the game. So there's a meat grinder in one of the areas of the game that you can throw a rabbit into, and it creates this little sausage.
Wow.
That's perfect timing.
Ben Reeves. He timed that perfectly.
That's right.
So the meat grinder thing is specifically Serious Sam 2.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
All right, jot that down real quick, Tim.
Okay.
Scratching his face raw. He's
Also,
rubbing his chin so
I don't know
much.
if you heard the thing about the Pentium. That was specifically the Pentium M. That's specifically Serious Sam as well.
Andrew
Interesting.
Reiner.
All right. You guys ready? Mm-hmm. Leo?
Start the clock.
All right, let's do this. I have Chasm. Woo! It is a indie game, a 2D action RPG in the Metroidvania vein, created by BitKid. But get this. This is the game that put them on the map. But they made 2 other games before this. One called Take Arms in 2011, which only made $20,000. So it was a flop. They worked on it for 2 years. And then 48 Chambers in 2012, which also didn't do well. BitKid was originally called Discord Games. So they had to change their name, obviously, for
Interesting.
various reasons. But they decided to go to Kickstarter with Chasm, and this was in 2012. And they ended up making a fair amount of money. There was 6,900 backers. They made $191,000. Their goal was to release the game in 2014. like a lot of Kickstarter things, that didn't happen. It ended up coming out on July 31st, 2018. Ben Reeves reviewed the game for us. And one of their stretch goals, thank goodness they didn't hit this stretch goal. If they would have hit $325,000, they would have added a 7th realm to the game, which probably would have delayed them till like 2020 or something like that. It's a procedurally generated game, and there are 1,000 handmade rooms that are made up of that, that make up the levels that you end up going through. The founder of the company, James Petruzzi, and his co-founder, Tim Dodd. Petruzzi ended up quitting his day job to focus on this.
20 seconds.
And, oh my gosh. And his wife ended up keeping her job, and he would just work. He would wake up at noon to 1 p.m. and work till basically 5 a.m. when his wife would be getting up. So they didn't really see each other. They thought maybe this game would ruin their relationship, but they stuck through it and ended up launching it, and now all is good.
Love
That is
wins.
Chasm.
Wow.
Question: would you say that this game created a chasm of sorts in their relationship?
I think so.
Thank you.
They said it was a rough period in their life.
Interesting.
I like it. Damn, rough period.
Chasm.
Leo Vader, I sent it to the studio channel. Do you have that audio file? That's going to be the kickoff to mine here. I'll let you get that a little bit
Oh,
prepped.
audio file.
This feels like cheating.
I
think
asked
you're
ahead of
sucking
time.
up to Tim.
Can we play music from the game? And you all
Yeah, it's,
said yes.
You know,
It's
you know how
interesting.
much.
It's interesting. Interesting choice. Okay.
It's
Tim
from
loves
Mega Man
music.
11 too, 'cause, his favorite game.
Yeah, and I put a bunch of just coin and dollar sound effects in there. You all know what a
Coin and
dollar
dollar.
sounds like.
Which are falling into your pocket right now.
All right, Leo Vader, how you looking in the booth there?
I need a saga. What's the saga? It's songs for the deaf. You can't even hear it.
Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann, ladies and gentlemen.
So I was gameplay programmer on Jack 3, then gameplay programmer on Jack X Combat Racing.
But the claim to fame is the menus in Jack X.
The
That's-
claim to
that's-
fame, the best thing
that
I've ever
is like
done
the
in the history of
paramount.
Naughty Dog
Everything's downhill
is
from there.
program the menus for Jack X Combat Racing.
Have you seen the color selection in that thing?
How dare you?
It's amazing.
How dare you, sir?
Jack X Combat Racing is the reason we have The Last of Us. It's a gigantic
No,
turning
it's not.
point for the company of Naughty Dog and showed the growing pains of a turning point in general. You might wonder the song choice. The beginning of Jack X Combat Racing features 2 songs from Queens of the Stone Age off of Songs for the Deaf, originally just placeholder, then they actually got the rights to put in there for the background of a bar. The rest of the music is also excellent, composed by the founding member and songwriter for A Perfect Circle, Billy Howardell. In the commentary track, Josh Schur, who's the lead cinematic animator, said the opening cinematic to Jack X Combat Racing is the most challenging movie that Naughty Dog had ever done at the time. And he came up with the idea that instead of animating the cars, they're actually driving the cars to capture that. But not the most interesting thing about those actual sequences. The most interesting thing about the sequences and the cutscenes in Jack X Combat Racing is they're not rendered in real time. But Naughty Dog had a rule that all cinematics had to be rendered in real time. So what they did, because the PS2 couldn't handle jumping from one racing scene to another racing scene, because it's just too much of a variety of like content streaming by, so they went frame by frame and captured an MPEG each individual frame. So every cinematic in that game is just frame by frame, so that they could actually jump to different locations and the PS2 could handle it. I asked Josh Schur on Twitter if this was the most interesting thing about the game. He said no. Actually, I think the most interesting thing about Jack X is that it was Naughty Dog's first foray into online network play and laid the groundwork for our future multiplayer modes overall.
20 seconds.
Oh God. So Neil Druckmann, he hit rock bottom with this game. He was a gameplay programmer working on the UI. He absolutely hated it. He said he was going to quit. Then he started petitioning to do design in his free time. That eventually led to him doing work on the PSP version of Jack and Dexter, which was canceled. And then eventually he went on to create The Last of Us. And that's it, ladies and
right.
gentlemen. Jack X Combat Racing.
That was fascinating.
Yeah.
Was it?
Reiner was hemming and hawing throughout a majority of that.
I just heard a lot of
Figured-
Neil Druckmann name dropping.
It is the
Even
reason,
his voice.
the reason he got into design.
I didn't hear the system specs.
I feel maybe Reiner is trying to sway my decision here a little bit. Maybe trying
Okay.
to.
Now, Timothy Turi, we got one more to go
Cool.
off of, and this is the community
Yeah, the
choice.
community.
Leo, I have that option in there as well. Question is, who reads this? Leo, would you want to read this
Yeah.
in the booth? That sounds impartial.
I run in and get it?
we
Yeah,
can just
man.
hold it up in front of Tim. I'm sure that'd be easy.
Skype's
Yeah, it'll be
resolution
easy
might
to
not
read,
be that
yeah.
good. So here's what we got. Enjoy. This is Beatdown Fists of Vengeance on the PlayStation 2.
Oh, it's a Capcom game. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Shut up, you idiot. Shut up. He didn't know that. Shut up.
Interesting.
All right. Leo Vader, community choice. Take it away, sir.
I'm going to start the timer.
Go for it.
Kalal Pryor says, I didn't do any heavy research, but my fun fact for Beatdown Fists of Vengeance is that it released within 30 days of the release of Urban Reign, and though I played and liked both games, gun to my head, I couldn't match the titles to a screenshot of either one. They just melded together as that generic gritty beat-em-up I played a lot on the PS2. Forrest from Lawrence, Kansas says, I did some light digging into Beatdown Fists of Vengeance, and here are some random facts about it. Multiple members of the staff would go on to work on the Nier series. The game was made by Kavia, which had Yoko Taro working on the Drakengard series at the same time. This was the last game released by Kavia before the company was bought by AQ Interactive. In 2010, Kavia was disbanded. Beatdown came out the same day as The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
There we go.
All
Community,
right.
way to go.
Oh, all right.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
That last email came in about 5 minutes before we started recording the podcast, so I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Timothy Turry, how you feeling here?
It's been good hanging out with you guys. Thanks for talking about all those interesting games. So yeah, I guess I was interested to hear a little bit about the MLS ESPN the games from Cork there. That was interesting, I guess, to a degree. It's interesting to hear Cork talk about sports games. But I felt like a lot of the focus was just on nothing. I was interested in learning more about the game itself, I guess. Maybe some like key features or just something about what set it apart from other sports games.
Well, if you hadn't been so insistent on the 2 minutes, Tim, I could have really gone into it. That was the second part of my presentation.
Reeves, I felt like you really did show up for that, and I thought that there was some good info in there, but you focused a lot on Serious Sam as a series of Sams, and it was like there was some good stuff in there, but I guess I feel like I wanted to know a little bit more specific about Serious Sam. The rabbit thing, really interesting little tidbit. I think if you would have acted it out, that probably would have helped a little bit.
Dang it.
Reiner with Chasm, I like the focus on the dev side. Really interesting to get the human side of that story in there. But I am gonna and the community also. Like, geez, those 3 emails were really pretty good. 2 emails. And I like the not being able to name pick them out of a screenshot or a lineup. But Ben's it was a perfect pairing of enthusiasm and knowledge of the topic for Ben. It was just the luck of the draw with Jack X Racing. I remember being on the cover story for the Last of Us, and I was very surprised to see that Neil Druckmann came from that game. So I think that's probably.
Oh, hold on. Don't say anything. Hey, Jeff, could you just close that laptop?
No. We have more questions for Tim.
I think he was about to say I was going to win.
I do have a quick question before Tim finishes his sentencing. I think the most prudent thing to do here is to have some kind of independent investigation. Because I find it very interesting that Hansen had audio clips ready for something that was supposedly randomly generated.
Also,
I just remembered that we talked to him about Jack X Combat Racing on that Last of Us cover story.
I would submit to everyone here that Ben's knowledge of random games that few people care about as much as him runs pretty deep. And
Thank you.
Particularly when Leo's putting his thumb on the scale. That's all I'm saying.
How so?
Hanson, didn't you pick the judge too?
Yes.
Which is your previous co-host?
Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Tim, you don't have to stand for this debauchery.
I don't have to, and I have to say, Cork, is he still the commissioner of the vault, or has that title been?
That is Kyle.
Yeah, he's the commissioner of the vault.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, I guess if you want to put an asterisk after this, you can, but I'm going to have to go with Hansen's Jack X Racing. But, if you want to continue the investigation, that's fine. But, it doesn't change how interesting that was.
Thank you.
Really interesting.
That, honestly, I was worried that it was going to be a matter of Jeff Cork going for a joke and walking into podcast recording day and reading the back of the box. I feel like everyone brought it, and I'm so happy that you guys got into it and brought it.
I will say in the future...
Jeff did read the back of the box.
Well, for a part of it, sure.
I will... I think we should give a little more time.
Yeah, let's talk about... If we do this again, rule changes. What would you recommend?
I would say as much time as I need.
Is under 5 minutes a fair thing?
I think it's fair.
Because I wouldn't imagine most people are going to run out the clock on something like that.
Yes.
I would say 3 minutes, honestly.
3 minutes?
Yeah,
it
one
seems
more
like
minute's
everybody
probably all
just
we need.
needed another breath to finish up.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Also, the caliber of games.
Yes, sir.
Getting a Naughty Dog production next to Beatdown.
Look,
it's
what are
not
you gonna
fair.
do? Blame the random number generator?
Well, yeah,
I
your
think,
game
again,
is
we
the
need-
most interesting
We need the
game.
investigation, like Jeff's saying.
Random. I don't know how random it is. I didn't see this generator.
Leo,
Interesting.
please defend yourself. For the love of Christ.
I knew the risks. I almost re-rolled based on what was going to happen, but that's how committed I am to the truth, is that I let it go
That's
through.
right.
I'd like
Trust
to
the
apologize.
All I know
I
is
want to
we got
apologize. I'm
3
sorry.
games that we didn't know anything about, and he gets one of his favorite games.
First of all,
That's so
I have
honorable.
only played Jack X to
10
capture
times.
gameplay footage for that interview that I played a clip of. I have
In its
never played it
entirety.
outside of that. Well, yes, over and over again.
So we're calling it a draw?
Sure.
that what we're doing? Okay.
The judgment. Do you like having this judge?
I do.
A type of judge always
It's really
in here?
good to see him again.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you, Tim. Thank you so much.
Nice.
That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.